What's good, everybody? Shout out to Commenter Nation, greatest nation since United Nations. Today, I'm going to quickly talk to you about KENNEKA and the Kendrick Johnson case. I wanted to let you know that there is a common connection between it, as well as was a growing theme that we're beginning to see open up. I want you to take a close look. What do they have in common with the situation that is occurring now, that is in an attempt to spark, let's say, a racial divide? Think about it. There's a divide right now between young African Americans, including the old ones, because of abuse of authority. It has nothing to do with civilian race. The only reason that matters is when you have people that are Caucasian beginning to stand in a way to target the people that it's at in order to make them feel a certain way because they're trying to stand for this right. That's very important to this, because what you got to understand, it's easy to tell dealing with Kendrick Johnson, there was some level of somebody that felt someone around him owed them something, so they took the closest thing they can get. That is the same thing we're looking at with Kendrick Jenkins. Somebody felt that they were owed a certain way, that doing this would be a way to threaten the situation or upgrade their situation to some point. That is easy to see when you look at the different factors around it. Look at Kendrick Johnson. His case was in a school, in a gym mat. Think about school. Is there any way for you to do anything like that and it go unnoticed or unknown? There was a collaboration to some level to get him alone and have that done. Now, I could go over the case details, because if you read the story, they missed a huge part that sets apart even leading to the person involved. If you read through the case files, you'll see it too. Again, that is not my job when I'm looking through it. I'm just looking for things that I know the cops usually don't. And that opens it up to me. That's why I only did one story, because I honestly, at that time, I was like, man, I'll really be focusing going into detail on this case. But I didn't do all that, because when authority becomes the issue in the story, sometimes I just see what they're doing. I watch what they're doing about it. But because that case is going cold, I could say some other things about it. I have a few more videos to upload on it that I can have happen. But I want you to look at the similarities between it. I'm not saying to tell me that it's not similar, because it's not exact same at all. But look at the similarities around it. You will see a easy repeating factor. There's an easy repeating factor. And whether you realize it or not, it has a lot to do with the recent situation of the protests, more than you think, to do with the protests that are happening now. So one way you could say is it was a failed attempt, the whole situation. That's the biggest thing. Even though they are deceased, rest in peace to them, it was a failed attempt. And if you think objectively, you'll see exactly what I'm trying to tell you. It was a failed attempt to do some stuff. And I want you to look in the area that those individuals live and look at all the situations that happened after and prior. That will explain the tale of what's going on there. The second part, dealing with the KENNEKA thing, I think these guys are doing an awesome job in their videos. They're delving in detail and things. But the fact of the matter is, they focus on what we said was not right. We said the video wasn't right. Things were going on with the video. The same thing with the Tentacion case, honestly. And we took focus to the individuals that were around it. Now, I didn't go into detail, but from seeing the video, they told on themselves in their interviews. If you listen closely, everybody who did an interview around it told on themselves. If you listen to what they're saying, match it up with what you see. If they're saying something and you're seeing something different on the camera footage, that's an obvious lie. It's obvious. It shows you everything. Like if people would just think critically about it, everybody told on themselves. Even to an extent in the Kendrick Johnson case, the question is, there were certain people who didn't speak that you should have wondered why. And if you look at that footage and you look at the different people around and how certain people were not around, it makes perfect sense. And it's sad to say, it does make perfect sense. But I stick to what I said years ago. I told you, Chicago would be the testing ground. Now we're looking at Milwaukee, but it's very close. So whoever it is, if they don't want to prove me true, I know what their ultimate test ground is. Your goal is testing in Chicago. And I know why you're going to do it. How you're going to do it, you could change it tomorrow. But I know why you want to do it. And this protest is part of the reason. Milwaukee is a distraction for what they really want to do in Chicago. You'll see shortly. It has a lot to do with certain political factors too surrounding it. If you guys look, all of this, you'll put it together. I mean, they were telling me the X case was what? Nah, the X case was just one of the cases I was able to do aside from what I do. I really does this. And that's what I'm telling them. I see the inconsistency and the consistency that lines up with normalized situations. And the thing is, I don't have to harp on that. Even the investigators, policemen back in my city know that. They donned a gift at one point in time. They know I does this. What I'm telling y'all, you can believe it or not, but it's right in front of you. You got to look at the normalized factors. Okay, let me give you a starting place so you can understand. I want you to check the situations in Florida that involve young individuals being taken out to some extent in a situation. Look at what's normalized with that, the reaction. Then look at the one situation. If I'm not mistaken, Kendrick Johnson happened in Florida. But whatever place that happened in, because I don't remember, I haven't touched that case in forever. Look at the inconsistencies around it with situations that are similar. They tell you a story. Okay? Situations, look, environmental factors dealing with the situation will always tell the story. You just have to look at the story and then critically analyze it compared to those other situations. It will tell you what happened. Kendrick Johnson's situation wasn't random. Actually, if you understand it truly, I kind of lied. It's exactly like KENNEKA Jenkins. You'll understand. If you understand, you'll understand. Here's the thing. The giveaway, and I'll just give you the hint. If you look at Facebook and what certain people posted at that time, it gives it away. You then know, especially in KENNEKA and Kendrick's situation. Look around it. Must I mention Trayvon Martin? Really? I'm not talking about looking at random people. Look at the specific people surrounding the situation, and you know exactly what happened. Like to the T. You could tell them how it happened. You could tell them what night you presume it was planned. These guys, yo, their investigative skills, you gotta upgrade that, man. That's crazy. I mean, I looked at that situation for 2 minutes and was like, dang, it's like that? Because I was like, man, yo, I'm telling you guys, there is mystery everywhere you look when it has to do with situations. Mysterious things, mysterious incidents. They make sense because that tells the story. There's always someone plotting to do it a certain way around that situation when it happened. You got to think about it. People stop thinking and then they want to rely on media and stuff. I'm telling you, man. Look around the situation. Look at certain people. Look at how they walk from the situation. Look at how they spoke. They gave themselves up. Now, I don't know if they don't have someone that's intuitive working in their force, or if they do, maybe they're a part of it. There's no way to not see it. You can see who's acting funny. And yes, it's about the proof. And I'm going to tell you this. I'll tell you, since I get hit up and officers are like, you're not giving any hints to nothing. I'll just put it this plainly. If you get a situation like this and you check the people that are speaking about it, they always tell on themselves. They can't, it's like their conscience can't help it. So they're not good at what they tell on themselves. They tattletale on themselves. And they're like, someone told on me. No, you told on yourself. Like, look at their actions. Look the day after. Look at the day prior. Look at what they're doing. They tell on themselves. Man, if they thought this way, most cases would get solved. People tell on themselves, man. Since the dawn of time, they always do. Something they do always tells on themselves. You know how I rock. I got more coming for you today. I'm talking about another situation that's similar to this. I think I want to get more detailed with this one. All rights reserved.